And right now we're going to take care about the thing that could be actually considered as one of the most difficult part of lip retouch, but of course I'm going to show you how you can sort this out in a very easy way. And once again I'm going to repeat myself to do this to keep to not give really fake look to your lips. And of course I'm talking about the contours. So let's zoom this image a little bit more. And the really good thing about this image and about these lips, they have really beautiful contour, and I believe you can agree with me, especially the top line is very clear. However, the problem that is very common with the image, we have some of the shadows here, and sometimes you can sort this out a little bit using a frequency separation with your skin retouch, etc. But I recommend you to work a little bit with the lips, with the lip contour. But the thing is, once again, you want them to look quite clear, and you want them to look like there wasn't much Photoshop or there wasn't Photoshop at all. You want to make people surprised. So you want to do this like very natural way. And before for our lip retouch a little bit, we used frequency separation, and I told you we're using this because it's very good for the future of our lip retouch, and we can use this frequency separation right now to sort out the contours, because when we will be sorting out the contours, we can actually keep the texture around the lips exactly the same as it was. So what I'm going to do here between this low and high frequency, somewhere on the middle as the color is, we're going to create two empty layers. The one layer I'm going to call skin, and the other one I'm going to call lips. And the one thing I have to say once again, if you are a bit more advanced, because as you can see I show you a lot of details, I split every single part. For the details I give very detailed work, but if you feel comfortable enough, you don't have to create two layers. You can do all of this on the single layer and it will be totally fine. But I just want to separate the work so you can see very clear how we're going to work. So these two layers I'm going to put into the group. I'm going to call Control E or Command G, and I'm going to call this contours. If I would create the single layer, I would call the single layer contours, and that's all. So right now our work will be a bit longer than working on the single layer, but it will be much more clear for you. And if you are a bit in Photoshop, you already know that selection tools are not really such a great thing for retouching, and you probably know that pen tool is the best choice, as we were using this before. The pen tool is super helpful when we do high-end beauty retouch. So in this case, once again, I'm going to use pen tool, and what I want to do a selection around the lips. I'm not going to do selection around all of the lips, because sometimes we can do some mistakes, so I prefer to do a selection around really small areas. So let's start. I'm going to start from somewhere here, and of course just be careful about your selection. Try to do this right. The line, as you can see, the line where the light is on, there are already lips, so I don't want to remove this really. And I'm not getting so close to the lips itself. I just leave some space over here. This selection I believe could be a bit better, but it will be alright, especially because the lips going down here. But let's go down, and I'm going to do selection around here. And okay, that's quite a big image, so it depends on the size of your image when you're going to make a selection. But I believe for this image the selection around 3 pixels will be alright. But if it won't work, just do a step back and try 4 pixels, 2 pixels. But as I said, it depends on the image you're doing, as I believe the raw images you mostly going to use for the retouch have really huge size, so it shouldn't be 1 pixel, just usually it's around 3, probably even 4, up to 5. And right now, please be carefully. We're going to start with the skin, and then I will go to the lips. So I'm going to choose this skin layer. I'm going to choose selection tool, and I'm going to do select inverse. So right now this area is not selected, but everything around. I'm going to choose clone stamp tool. Flow, I'm going to choose very soft. Usually it's between 3 up to 5%. This mode normal, and very soft edged brush. And of course it will be all layers. Make it a bit bigger. And what I want to do, I want to sort out this ugly shadow over here. So I'm just taking a clone from the area which looks really well, and then I'm painting over in the area I don't really like that much. So, but be really careful. Take a few clones, don't take just one clone and paint it all over, because it won't look really great. As you can see, you can already see a small difference. We removed the shadows, but be really careful and have a look a few times how does it look like after retouch, because you don't want to mess up and then at the end just see that it didn't work so well. If you have a bit stronger shadows, you can always change a blend mode into lighten, and then you can brighten up your shadows a bit more. But I prefer to work with these two to start working with mode normal, and then if I will find some shadows, I'm going to change into lighten and try to sort out a bit more with lighten. So let me do this very quickly, or not really quickly, because the thing like quickly doesn't exist in high-end beauty retouch, and you probably noticed this, that it takes a lot of time. But if you will get really good in this, you will be able to do retouch using my actions that of course I'm giving you in this course. You can do retouch even so quick as 3 hours. I know it's not really that quick as you wish, but no one said it won't hurt, but it's worth it because you will have a lot of fun to doing this. Okay, and as you can see, this line is much better over here. Have a look from a little bit distance. That's before and that's after. So I really like the area over here right now. And now I'm going to go inside the lips. So once again, hit right, select inverse, and right now our selection is inside. And I'm going to do similar thing inside the lips. But right now, just with this red color over here. But once again, as you can see, we have different colors inside, especially the light over here. So you don't want to apply too much, maybe just a little bit of the color to make it a bit darker, but you don't want to mess this up. Also, as you can see, it can happen that we might apply a bit too much, so you have to be really careful and have a look a few times if you're not applying too much of the color. I usually don't do that much inside, but mostly sorting out the contours is about the things outside, because the skin is a bit more important. Lips usually are sorted out before, because we are working with this. I think a bit more over here. And yeah, okay, let's have a look how this part looks like before and after. Can agree, it looks much better right now, but I still see a few areas that I'm not really happy. It's a bit bright over here right now, so such areas we can always sort out without using selection anymore. Because I find some shadow over here. So that's why I recommend you to always zoom out a little bit to have a look. Still I have this weird area over here, but I don't think removing all of this will look really great. Okay, and right now we can go to the next part. So over here I still have few things to sort out. So once again I'm going to use pen tool. This area might be a bit more difficult because it's not that much on the front. Okay, so once again, hit right, make selection, feather radius 3 pixels in this case, and what you can see, this selection is not that great as before, but the point about the lips, sometimes you can have a control. Of course I could repeat this process and I could try to do selection once again, but I can see what's wrong over here, so I can paint over here a little bit here. I don't have such a straight edge, so I'm able to do this on my own. If it's not going to work, I'm just going to repeat the selection. If you don't feel comfortable with your selection, you think you can do this better, you can always repeat this. So clone stamp tool once again, and I was starting from the skin, so once again from the skin, hit right, select inverse, clone stamp, and let's see how I'm going to do this that time. I have a bit more color. I think this might be a little bit more difficult, but as you can see, I'm doing this quite alright. I have some lights over here, so I don't want to bring this shadow from that area into these lights, because these lights actually are work for other moment. I just want to sort out the wrong colors over here. So as you can see here, I have this little spot which wasn't really suitable, and the rest seems quite alright on that side, maybe even a bit more over here. But I think the bigger problem is inside this time, even though I said usually most of the work we are doing in the other areas. Here we have to do something inside. So I'm going to change into the lips, select inverse, and yeah, try to do this. I hope it's going to look fine. I know it's going to look fine. That's the thing I supposed to say. I can see the difference now. Okay. Now they are fully. My pen pressure wasn't strong enough, I guess. So okay, let's have a look. And right now, deselect, I could just press it. Let's have a look from the distance. It looks a bit better in this area. But what I notice right now, it probably bothers you as well, this little thing over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to my high layer, even if I'm supposed to not do this, and sort this out very quickly. And then I'm going to sort out this without selection. Yeah, it looks alright. Just a little stamp. Could be maybe a bit more. or no. And right now I'm going to go back here, and actually, as I said before, if you feel comfortable enough, you can do things without selection and it's nothing wrong. Because sometimes when you actually got a bit more fluent with Photoshop, when you feel a bit more comfortable with your work, you will notice that you don't want to do selection actually anymore because you don't have time for this. But if you don't feel comfortable, selection is very helpful. Right now, let's go to the bottom layer. And once again, I'm going to do a selection. You can see the difference. So as again, pen tool. And here I wasn't actually sure if I'm going to do a selection on the bottom lip. But yeah, let's try with this. Because this bottom lip is very specific, as you can see, it doesn't have this roundy shape that much. I'm going to try to do whole selection at once. Cannot see it very well. Once again, of course it happens a few times. Okay, so I think I'm going to do one selection over here like this. And once again, hit right, make selection. Right now I'm trying to do this a bit quicker. So as you can see, it's not really perfect over here, but we can the base where we have to paint. So I just want to remove this not really nice shadow, because this shadow, I could remove this using frequency separation before, but you would notice, I did this actually, but then I correct this, but you would notice it doesn't look in the way we really want to. So that's, I'm keeping this, but this small shadow over here, that's something we have to correct a little bit. I didn't notice it was hard-edged brush that was causing some problems. Okay. Now it looks really natural. Very soft change, so you could see once again the example I was telling before. It's not really great to do too many changes. And okay, right now I will go inside. I keep very soft brush and very low flow, and that might make you think there is no changes, but they are. But the very soft flow gives you just a bit more control on it. You can be sure you don't do mistake, because then you would go back over and over. And the reason if we don't do this, it's just way easier for you to fix the mistakes. Okay, I think it looks really way better. Let's zoom this out. This area over here, I don't think it's really wrong, so let's zoom this out a little bit, and now you can have a look before and after. It was very small change. You have to agree, I didn't do that much, but the contours looks actually much better. So that's how I work with the contours, that's how I try to fix the contours, and you don't need that much work, but I recommend you just to be careful with it.